parceros y parceras, bienvenidos a Lante. I am your host, Estrada-Ballesteros, and today we have our very first episode with my very first guest, which feels very appropriate because this is the first person I actually reached out to when I joined AT&T. His name is Horazio Calcagno, and Horacio, please tell us about yourself.
Well, hello, Chris, and I was pleasant to hear your voice when you reach out to me to try to work on what I was doing the work in Hacemos, and I'm still doing the work in Hacemos, and you try to reach out to me, says, I want to help, and I was thrilled to hear someone wanting to help us in the community work we do with AT&T. So I've been with AT&T about 24 years. Started in doing a lot of the project management work, and I did a lot of the program management within technical network. And I'm working with the global IoT development and implementation team. And what that means is that we work with devices, Internet of Things, that work outside of the United States. So I work with a lot of international operators, international partners, in order for our customers, to use their devices internationally. And it's really an exciting job to do this. You know, my background in IT and also in product development and technical project management, led me to get this job at AT&T, and I've been doing this for about 9 years.
Wow. So, this is an example I've talked about before, but we had a couple of Danish students come in, and they were looking to get some phones activated. And we had a couple, like a couple being a lot of them, really. I think it was 70, and their phones worked. So you work in that department, but almost the reverse of that, right? Making sure that our customers, if they go to travel overseas, their phones will work with our network.
Our phones at work and our other devices, things that are sent, things like a compressor, a gas engine that goes somewhere around the world. We want to be able to put a device there, to put a SIM there and get information. So it's not us who want the SIM. We control that, we design that, but our customers are able to get information from that thing, which could be anything you can imagine.
That's perfect. Yeah. So I'll have you to thank when I go to Santorini, which of course I have not been to Santorini porque no hay nerini, pero uno de estos días we will get there.
You're welcome.
And thank you. Yeah, thank you. Please, I'll shoot you a quick text. I'll shoot you a call. I'll be like, Horacio, aquí estamos tomando sol. I'll love it. Now, I guess tell me a little bit. Yeah, lo hicimos. So tell me a little bit about your day. So your day to day, what does like maybe a regular Monday or Tuesday look like for you?
Well, basically, there's a lot of interaction that I do with international operators, right? So it's using all the means that we have, all the resources and tools that we have, for example, email, picking up the phone, messaging, right? And those things to try to work with operators to get negotiations done, to get the functionality done. But also part of my day is to work with our internal resources, right? People who work within AT&T to make sure that what we promise our customers that we have, and it does work, right? So it's kind of managing a project to get a functionality done in another country. So my day-to-day could be on conference calls, could be a lot of email, could be getting into a conversation with an operator or getting into a conversation with engineers, marketing folks, and even retail folks around the country, just when they have questions about customers and how things work internationally.
Okay, that's a lot. You do a lot. So in that list of things that you kind of laid out for me, is there anything that in there that you find to be like your favorite thing, that thing that you look forward to every day?
Well, it's basically just getting the project done that I enjoy every day, that I never get tired of doing. It's trying to provide functionality for our customers, right? So if in a way it's like something that we don't have before and now we have. And to me, it's adding a new country, right? So we have a functionality that, for example, 5G, right? Something that we don't have, well, we have here in the United States, but we don't have the functionality in another country. My thrill is to get that functionality for our customers. So this I never get tired of, and I could do this on and on all the time.
That's great. I like that it's a very customer focused answer. It's very it's nice to hear things like that. And then is there anything that you might find a little bit more on the challenging side about your role?
Well, basically, sometimes is the negotiating, right? The negotiating and the influence our internal collaborators to work in your project, right? Everything is important within the company, right? All our projects are important. That's why they have funding. But it's how we go about in influence and leading our collaborators, our partners, internal partners, to work in your project and put that priority, right? And try to sell that priority to our internal customers so they're able to work on there and we meet our deadline for our customers. Again, we make promises, right? We make commitments,
Yeah.
right, to our customers, and we want to be able to show that we have this service in Greece. You mentioned Santorini, we have this service in Greece, and that is part of my job, right, to make sure that this functionality is important in Greece, not because for me, is because our customers need that country to send their device and to make sure it works there.
Okay. Yeah. So I mean, and I get that. Sometimes working on somebody else's timeline when you have your own timeline, that managing that relationship can be a little bit, I guess, more difficult than one would like sometimes. And so, in light of that, or I guess moving on from that, the question would be: is there any advice that maybe you wish somebody had given you when you first started in this role that could have made it a little bit easier at the beginning?
Well, it's also on this role, but it's more like, when you start out, right? When you start out working, you go to school and you get your training, you get your degrees, and then, nobody tells you that a lot of your job is relationship management, right? You need to have a relationship management with your partners, with your customers, with your operators in this case, which are your partners, right? And also internally, right? It's that relationship management is the thing I wish they would have told me. Say, hey, how much of that is important, right? And it's also influencing, right? Influencing others to participate and work in your projects, right? So it's kind of like that negotiation that you need to do with operators, with internal uh, collaborators and resources, right? That is not something that they really teach you in school. There are
Yeah.
classes, right? They say you need to go into negotiation, class, right? And then they do those classes that are available outside. But when you're training to be an engineer, like my background, is one of those things that they don't tell you this, right? It's there when you get to the job, and then suddenly you didn't know that this is very important.
Yeah, so that relationship management. And then to your point, that's not just in your role, that can be in any role. And then and the burner question, right? The question that we'll always ask here is why AT&T? There are so many cell phone companies out there, so many opportunities to do maybe something similar. But you've been with AT&T for 24 years, and there has to be a reason, right? Nobody does anything for 24 years without loving what they do. So why AT&T?
Well, okay, AT&T has always been in the forefront of technology, in the forefront of telecommunications, right? And with that, they have positioned themselves as the best leading global telecommunication company in the world, right? Where they not just do technology or they enhance and they follow, they not, they develop, right? The the best solutions for our customers within wireless communication or just in fiber or any other functionality that we sell, right? But it's not just that. We're also a very ethical company. We're involved in the community, right? So their support, like the Hacemos, which is the one of the biggest that we have in AT&T as far as employee involvement, right? And AT&T 100% supports that, right? So not only being what your work is about and how they go about customers and how they go about financially, but it's also a company where you feel proud to be working.
Yeah, of course. I'd know that. I mean, that's an excellent answer. AT&T's customer service and what their community outreach is huge, even outside of the EGs, right? AT&T does things internally where we might do community events and things like that, and that's a really good point. So the next question, this is la preguntica, la cultura. es,
Sí, sí.
amigo Horacio, ¿vos de dónde eres? ¿De qué parte sos? ¿Qué haces? Como, ¿de dónde viniste? ¿De dónde llegaste?
Bueno, yo nací en Montevideo, Uruguay. So I grew up in this small country sandwiched between Brazil and Argentina. So it's a little tiny country, but with a lot of culture, a lot of culture that it's there. So I'm proud to be there, to come from there, but also came from an Italian family. So my parents migrated from Italy into Uruguay. So we had a home where, we spoke Italian at home, but when you went outside, you had to speak Spanish. So
Yeah.
by force, I say by force because there was no way, there was no, it's not
Yeah.
negotiable, right?
Yeah.
It's like you speak Italian and you speak Spanish. So you kind of learn languages. So with that, I became multilingual, right? Until
Yeah.
one day, my parents decided to move to the United States, which was a great opportunity for us to be coming to the
Yeah.
United States. But then you have to learn a new language, right? So you become, by nature, you become multilingual, right? So because you
That's,
have to communicate in those three languages. So that's kind of like the culture you grow up
yeah.
there with, right?
Ush, eso es, tres idiomas, three languages, like, uno que a duras penas, like, I barely got the two down, and you're just working it with three, Horacio. Yo no sé cómo lo haces. Y,
We
y
try,
las, ya, no, pues,
probamos.
no, yo aquí con mi Duolingo es que italiano, gnocchi. Today I learned how to say your last name, so you got me beat. But, and then, so following that, is there anything about your culture that you would say impacted uh, how you navigate your professional life?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's because of the importance on the culture is balancing, right? So you kind of think about it, right? It's one of those things that we grew up with. You got to work hard to support your family. You have to support your family, so you need to work hard, right? So it's not just work, but it's the prioritization of important things, right? So how do you prioritize your life and how you prioritize what you do at work is also balancing between how you manage your life at home. And I think that came in from our culture, right? From our culture,
Yeah,
from Hispanic mixed in with Italian. It's still that
yeah,
culture that focuses on the family, but also on your profession, right? So it's kind of the
yeah,
combination of the two. And you kind of balance that. You balance that with what you do and how you do it to support what? Your family, right?
yeah. Of course. No, that's an excellent answer. And then the last question, which I'm excited about, because finding out that you're not just from Uruguay, but Uruguayo Italiano, which I think is a word. Even
See?
if it wasn't, it certainly is now. Is que es la comidita, algo que something that like you just can't not eat, or might even recommend for me to have sometime soon today.
Absolutely. So, like I said, being in an Italian family, there was, the not daily, but the daily you have to have pasta, right? So you always have pasta, and every Sunday my mom always made fresh pasta. So in the fresh sauce and all the fresh Italian dishes that she would come up with. But so that was something that was a staple of the family, right? But born and raised in Uruguay, there's one staple, right? Actually, there's two, right? One is the asado. So what is
Okay.
asado,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So asado is all these different cuts of meat that you do, with family and you celebrate a Sunday, right? And
Yeah.
you just have this and the taste of it goes with the family, right? So it's a combination. So it's having the asado, it's something I said, well, I cannot live without it, right? And
Yeah.
the other thing is staple from Uruguay and Argentina is really the mate, right? So it's that green tea that you drink with a
Oh,
gourd.
sí, sí, sí. Okay. I was
Yes.
like, what? I was like,
Well, you
aquí
gotta have
inventando
that.
palabras. No, now I understand.
No, no.
Uh, no,
It's el
yeah,
mate you have to
yeah, yeah.
have. It's
Sí, es
like a mate
necesario.
in asado. It's like they don't go together. Okay, so no, it's not like okay, so you have asado and you drink mate. No, they don't go together. But you got to have it within your day. You got to
Yeah.
have your mate, and at least once in a while, you have to have an asado just to make sure you have your priorities straight.
Yeah, el asado seems like not only is it like it seemed like a culinary like thing, but it also seems like it kind of ties into that like what you spoke about before, that family thing, because it
Exactly.
requires un buen asado requires that everybody be there, everybody's partaking hanging out, talking, chismeando por allá. But the important thing is that you're together, right? So
Exactly,
that's
exactly.
excellent. And I have one final question, and it's do you have any maybe sort of advice for anybody who is looking to move into a similar career that you're in within AT&T?
To give advice to others, well, get your training, right?
Yeah.
Get your training, go to school, get your degrees, learn the business, right? Learn the business, learn what you're passionate about. If it's engineering, if it's marketing, it's whatever it is, always get your training and then give yourself to the job, but always have a balance, right? Have a balance, give give yourself to a job the time that it requires, put the passion that you love to do. And if it is something that you're passionate about, it never becomes work. It becomes part of you.
Beautifully put. La pasión es todo, como siempre.
La
Horacio,
pasión es
parcero,
todo.
amigo, gracias. Thank you so much for being a part of this. Thank you so much for supporting me when I first came to
My
AT&T
pleasure.
and first moved to Seattle. It has been an honor to be able to say that you were the first guest on the show. And everything that you've said was just, it resonates and it was excellent. So I appreciate you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Chris. And looking forward to keep working with you in Hacemos and anything else within AT&T.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Bueno, amigos, eso fue el primer capítulo. That was our first episode, friends. Please like, subscribe. I don't know if this is a thing I'm going to keep, but just in case, like and subscribe. And yeah, thank you again for watching. And we'll have the next episode up next month and with the guest TBD, but I'm sure we'll be keeping you guys updated in the newsletter. Thanks again. Bye-bye.